on their own journey. And getting married at 20 is great, but getting married at 50 is just as beautiful. It's important to understand that you are living your life, you are not living their life. So choose what you want in your life. Forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself by saying that I choose to forgive that other person because I deserve peace. I need my peace of mind.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of the Beauty in You podcast. I'm so excited because we're going to talk about self love today and even overcoming cultural expectations. Our guest today is on a mission to help 1 million women around the world fall in love with themselves. Oh my goodness, this is so amazing. Welcome to the Beauty in You podcast, Charisma. How are you?
It's a pleasure to meet you, Chiquita. I am good. How are you?
I am doing well. And what an amazing mission you're on. Like, that is so needed. I am so excited to hear more about you and your journey and what even brought you to this awesome mission. But before we get there, I want to know the woman behind the brand, and I want to know your rediscovery journey. So, can you take me on our way?
Yes, sure. So it since my childhood, where usually most of these journeys start when I was told I struggled with self doubt. I had low self esteem and low self worth because I always look for validation from outside instead of validating myself. I always look for to earn the love of my parents or someone else in the society. I always look to validate myself in their eyes, and in that attempt, try to do things that I think that will make them happy. If I feel that getting good grades in the school would impress my parents, if it will get me their love, I will work hard to get a good grade. And if I didn't succeeded in getting the grade that can satisfy my parent, that can satisfy my dad, I would kind of scold myself in my head that I failed, and I will obviously get into trouble with my dad as well. So yeah, I always look for validation from outside, and as I grow older, it all only got that feeling of getting validation from outside, that desire to get that validation from outside only got stronger and stronger. And growing up, I was told that find a good guy, get married by a certain age, because if that doesn't happen for you by a certain age, you are settling for a jerk. You will have to settle for someone who is second best, because the all the best ones will already be taken with by other women. So you will have to settle for second best. So you better figure out by that certain age who you are
Mhm.
marrying and find him and get married, and you will be set for life. So I really had that strong desire of getting happily married, because most of it obviously again came from external sources. I watched a lot of romantic movies growing up, and
Yeah.
how I saw in the movies how the Prince Charming will show up on a white horse and take the bride away from the rest of the world, and I fantasize myself in that as being the bride and my Prince Charming coming up, and all that romantic stuff happening for me. Somehow the man didn't came by the age that I was told that he should come in your life and you should
Mhm.
get married. I didn't kind of attracted him by that age, and that took a even bigger hit on my self-esteem and
Mm.
affected my self-worth a lot, and I kind of questioned myself if I'm even worthy of having a partner, because
Mm.
if I am worthy, why would I not have him today? What's wrong with me? And I kind of started doubting myself even more, that what's wrong with me, if I will ever get a partner, and how do I fix myself to attract a partner, because I thought something is wrong with me. So if I can fix myself, if I can fix that wrong thing, then I will get a partner. And that somehow attracted me into this personal development and self-love space because I thought that maybe once I do enough personal development, I will be able to fix myself and that will lead me into finding my partner. And as I entered into this phase, once I started doing the work on myself, on my inner work and my rediscovering myself and healing my childhood traumas, etc., as I started doing all that, I realized that there was nothing really wrong with me. It was just my own beliefs and perceptions based on what I heard growing up, what my experiences are based on the beliefs I had, my beliefs based on the experiences I had.
Yeah.
And it was all my own makeup of what I saw, how world works. And it was really nothing really was wrong with me. And once I let go of that feeling that there is something wrong with me, I am more at peace with myself and I have accepted myself enough. And now I'm always looking to validate myself internally instead of looking for external validation in the source of getting a partner, getting married, and earning the love of my parents by doing things they want to do. My dad was, as I earned that, as I validated myself and got into that self space, I realized that this journey that I went through, that self doubt and low self worth, etc. It was not something that only happens to me. It
Mhm.
happens to a lot of women around the world in
Yes.
some way or the other. Every other woman goes through this. So I realized that if I have overcome this in my life, I can help other women overcome this in their life. So I decided to become a self-love coach. I did my training certifications, etc., to become a self-love coach. And yeah, again, it was my dad wasn't very supportive of the fact that I choose this career
Mhm.
because he grew up with the mentality of work a 9 to 5 job, safe, secure job. You don't take risks, play it safe, etc. And now that I decided that I want to be an entrepreneur, it didn't really make sense to him. He
Yeah.
was like, why am I doing this? Why can't I just chain a safe, secure job? But because I wasn't looking for his validation, I stand up for myself. I told him that this is what I want to do, and I understand that he is worried about my financial security, and that is the reason that he's pushing me to just get a job. I don't want to work a job, and I know I can be financially secure while building a business that I love to do instead of working a job that I hate.
Yeah. There's so much power in your story. So thank you for
Thank you.
sharing that. I want the listeners to realize like it doesn't matter where you are around the world. We have so many similarities in our stories. You know, you're in Australia, I'm in the USA. And yes, the struggle is real, you know, and at the end of the day, it shows that we're all human. We're all women. We're all human. We're separated by water, but our stories are the same, you know, just wanting that validation from other people and wanting to, for them to be proud of us before we can even be proud of ourselves, you know, or not feeling worthy. That's part of my journey, not feeling that I'm worthy of all the good things. So if anything good ever happened in my journey, then I'm like, why? Why did that happen? Or, you know, maybe something bad is getting ready to happen because something good happened. But if something bad
Exactly.
happened in my journey, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because all the, you know, all the bad things happened to me. I'm not worthy of anything better. And it took for me to change my mindset, just like you, changing your mindset to understand that there's nothing wrong with us. Like, we're good. We just have to change what we're feeding ourselves. That negative self-talk, we can't feed ourselves that because if we continuously feed ourselves that negative self-talk, then we become that. But when we start feeding ourselves positivity, then our actions are different. We get a little bit more power, we get a little bit more confident, and we start to see and understand our worth, which is exactly what you did as well. There's nothing wrong with you. Your time will come. And now you know that there's nothing wrong with me, but I'm going to teach all these women that they have the power to love themselves. And that is beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. These big milestones like marriage, graduation, for some reason, it is also with the society and how our parents pass this on to us. For some reason, it is told that it's like a train and you better catch that train as soon as possible or you will miss out on your chance. If that train went away, another train is not coming. So you better rush to catch that train. And like that is the reason that sometimes if people have to stop their studies and they start again at a later age, they are kind of embarrassed to finish graduation at 30s or even in 40s because they think that they have already missed that train and they are kind of embarrassed by studying with younger people. And same with marriage, if they are told that get married by 20s or latest by in your 30s and it doesn't happen by that age, they are already kind of thinking that I already missed that marriage train and now it's never coming again. So I am doomed to fail because marriage is not happening for me, which is a lie because everyone has a different timeline. Everyone is on their own journey and getting married at 20 is great, but getting married at 50 is just as beautiful.
Absolutely. Everybody has their own journey, their own timeline. And you're right. It starts from our childhood, from parents or, the generations putting that pressure onto us. Like at some point, we don't really know where it's like, why do we have so much pressure? Why do we feel so heavy? Because it started when we were young, because they're putting those thoughts in our head. By 20, you better, or by this age, you better graduate. By this age, you better be married. By this age, you better have kids. By this, and it's like, okay, all this pressure all at one time. Like, when do I get to live and when do I get to learn who I am as a person? But you take all of those generational pressures and you throw it on yourself. And then for you as well, with your culture, with fighting that and those expectations, that's a lot of pressure and you're living your life. So what advice would you give someone that may be in the similar situation where their family doesn't want them to be an entrepreneur, or they don't want them to pursue their dreams? They want them to stay the course. What advice would you give to them?
I will tell them that they need to trust themselves. They need to, if becoming an entrepreneur or any other dream that they have, it's something that they truly want in their heart, then they need to follow their heart and go for it. And their parents or anyone in their family or anyone else that is not agreeing to and they want to have that person in their life, possibly their opinion matters to them. Like my father's opinion was important to me, but since he didn't agree with me, I still choose what I wanted. And I knew that eventually he will come to sense to agree with it, and he did. So again, if someone whose opinion really matters to you, if that person is important in your life and they are not agreeing with what you want in your life, it's important to understand that you are living your life. You are not living their life. So choose what you want in your life. And similarly, they are not living your life. So they don't really have that right to force you to choose what you want in your life. They can give you advices, but they can't really force you to choose what you want in your life. And since if their opinion is so important to you, so important for you, understanding that they will come to join you in your journey, eventually they will come to agree with what you wanted sooner or later.
Absolutely. And I think you have to be okay with doing it scared, because it is scary, like when you start going against the odds, it can be very, very scary and maybe even a little lonely. But I will say, like, do it scared. I encourage everyone to do it scared and just keep pushing through, because yes, eventually they will come around, and your
Yes.
community, you will find your community that supports you, that understands the mission, and that understands what you're doing. How important was it for you to find your self-love community?
It was definitely very important for me. And as you said, it can be a lonely journey. Entrepreneurship can be a very lonely journey
Mhm.
because like 99% of the population is kind of happy to do a 9 to 5 job, and they stay in that. And for maybe if they are not happy, they are scared to take risks, and they are happy to
Mhm.
stay in that. If it was for them, great, well and good. If it's not working for you, you need to try something different. And again, it can be a lonely journey, but once you start doing the work you love, you will eventually find out the right people for you, your right tribe. You will figure out, and you will possibly be like, it is better to have a small group of friends who truly loves you, who truly sees you the way you are, instead of having been in a big crowd, and the that crowd possibly doesn't even know you who you are. So it's better to have a good but quality but small friends, if that is what works for you. But
Yeah.
it's better to, at least if you are following your dream, you are more likely to find people who will support you in your dream. Once you have taken the first step, you are more likely to attract people who will support you in that dream, instead of discourage you or pull you back or
Mm.
tell you that it's not possible. And obviously, even sooner or later, like, you may face people who will try to pull you down and say that
Mhm.
it's not possible. But again, it's about standing up for yourself, saying that
Mhm.
this is what I'm doing, and I appreciate your opinion, but it is your opinion, so you keep it to yourself.
Keep it to yourself. I don't need to hear that negativity. I think that's so important to know. My circle is very small, so I understand what you're saying, like finding your circle, those that understand what you're doing and what you're working toward and where you're going, because it's true, not everyone's going to understand your journey, right? Because it's your journey. Not everyone's going to understand the work that you do as an entrepreneur. It's rough being an entrepreneur. What we do is not easy at all. It's like a special breed of
Exactly.
people that are able to do what we do. And so it's important that we surround ourselves with people that are on similar paths than us, or that have already achieved more than us, because that boosts us to continue to move forward. But yeah, it's definitely okay to have someone that does not support your dream and say, hey, I don't really need to hear that, because what you're doing is, to me, like, you're trying to tear me down, and I don't have to listen to that. I don't have to like conform myself around what you want me to be doing. Like, this is truly what I want to do, and I'm gonna do it. So your mission to help 1 million women. Talk me through that.
Yeah, it came about because of my own journey that I already shared. And once I came out of that, overcome that self doubt and low self esteem, and came into embracing self love. And when I say that overcome self doubt, it's not like once you learn self love, once you start loving yourself, it's not like you never have self doubt at all.
Mhm.
Because self doubt is like, whenever you try something new, you will, at one stage or the other, you will kind of, that self doubt will come up, that can I really do this? I have never
Mhm.
done this before. Can I really do this? And you will doubt yourself even when you are completely loving yourself and accepting yourself. But it's about recognizing that self doubt and reminding yourself that you got this, you can do this,
Mhm.
instead of letting that self doubt hold you back. So, yeah, it's when I say overcome self doubt, that's what I mean. It's not like, it's like, sometimes people think, some of my clients will think that, wow, she is with a self love coach, so she never have a down moment. She is so
Yeah.
self loving, she never have a down moment, she never have any self doubt. She is all in a state of bliss and joy, and that's not really true. Because I have my up and downs as well. So even when I am a self love coach, there are things that when I am not going well in my life and I experience a down moment, but it's easier for me to bounce back from it now than it was
Mhm.
in the past because now I have learned self love. So, yeah, that's why now that I have been through that journey and I have learned my lesson, that's how my mission came about to inspire 1 million women around the world to love themselves. And like I'm going on a lot of podcasts to share my message and hoping that the women who are watching listening the podcast, it's impacting them. I am spreading my word through Facebook, etc., Facebook, Instagram, and working with clients and hoping that by the end of 2025, I will reach that 1 million women, helping 1 million women around the world.
Yeah, I think you can do it. And I think you're already on your way to doing that. One thing that you said that I thought was really important is that you are showing that you're human, right? Like you're telling your clients like, "Hey, I know I am a self-love expert, but I too have my days." I do the same thing. I'm like, "Hey guys, yes, I'm all about healing and empowerment, but I have my days too." And that's important. That's so important. And I know that helps them along the way because they can see that their coach, their expert is human. And because they've experienced it, they know how to help me even more. And so I want to commend you on doing that to show that you are human. Yes, I am an expert, but I am human and I have my days. My goal is to teach you the tools that you need to be successful. And, when you have that self doubt, how to interpret or throw in that positive self talk to allow you to continue to love yourself. Because it is a continuous journey. It never ends. It's a circle. We're always going around and round and round. But it's important that we tell others that, like, hey, this is what I do. I love what I do, and I can help you get to the other side. But yes, we have our days, we have our moments, but even during those moments, this is how you get through that. And so that is so important to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. What are 3 steps that you would give your client that is having issues finding themselves on their self-love journey?
The first step is definitely starting with forgiveness, and it includes forgiveness of the past, forgiving yourself, forgiving other people who may have hurt you. And again, forgiveness has that misunderstood definition of people thinking that why should I forgive someone because they have done me so much bad? They haven't apologized to me, so why should I forgive? They were so mean to me, so why should I forgive? And they kind of assume that when they are not forgiving the other person, they are hurting the other person
Mhm.
because of with their anger, they are hurting the other person. And plus, they have that misunderstood definition that by forgiving, they are condoning what the other person said or condoning the actions of themselves or condoning the actions of the other person who may have hurt them. And again, forgiveness has nothing to do with any of that. Forgiveness is about your peace of mind. It's about saying
Mhm.
that I deserve my peace of mind, and my peace of mind is more important than allowing you to have power over me by that anger and resentment. And again, that anger, you are holding on to that anger. That anger is in your heart, it is in your body, and it's probably not doing anything to the other person. It's only hurting you because it's affecting
Mhm.
your immune system. Again, forgiveness is a gift you give to yourself by saying that I choose to forgive that other person because I deserve peace. I need my peace of mind. So it's letting go of that negative emotions that we may have been holding on to and thinking that by holding on to those emotions, we are only hurting the person or hurting someone else. It's only affecting us. It's recognizing that it's only affecting us. And similarly, it's also about even if it is self forgiveness, it's recognizing that we may have made mistakes in the past, but we have learned a lesson from it. And we only did those mistakes because probably we didn't know what we know now. And since we are more knowledgeable now, we know better now, so we won't repeat that mistake. So forgiving ourselves for our past mistakes and moving on instead of punishing ourselves by
Yeah.
saying that we don't deserve forgiveness. So the first step is definitely forgiveness.
Again.
When you let go of that negative energy or that negative energy in the forms of anger, resentment, etc., it's about getting clear on your vision. The second step is to get clear on your vision
Mm-hmm.
and it having true clarity both in your conscious and subconscious mind. And subconscious mind is obviously a vast discussion for which we can talk about for hours probably. But if I summed it up briefly, subconscious mind is whatever is hidden, whatever is kind of hidden from us, it's not in our conscious awareness. And it obviously, when we are between the ages of 0 to 7, whatever we see at that time,
Yeah.
because at that time our conscious mind is not fully developed. So between the ages of 0 to 7, whatever we see around us, our environment, how our families talking to each other, how our families talking to us, etc. All that get absorbed in our subconscious mind because what we see in the world, we think this is how the world works. So I am absorbing this in my subconscious mind so that it helps me when I grow up and I will be able to help myself in the world because of all
Mhm.
this information. So it's like how our digestive system, our breathing, etc. It's more of a subconscious actions. We know how digestive system works, but we
Right.
don't have to do anything to make that work. It's kind of automatic. It's subconsciously happening in the back. Sometimes we may not be aware that we are breathing, but we are still breathing
Breathing,
because
yeah.
it's a subconscious act. It's happening behind the back. Similarly, it's all the stories of what we see happening in the world in our toddler age between 0 to 7, in our formative years, whatever we see around the world.
Mhm.
That's why if we grow up in an abusive family, if we saw our parents abusing each other, we kind of think in our head that love equals abuse because that's how we saw our parents.
Yeah.
And as consciously, even though we understand that love doesn't equal abuse, because our subconscious mind we thinks that love equals abuse because that's what we saw in our parents' relationship. We attract relationship in which we get abused or we abuse the
Mhm.
other person because we think that is normal. And that's what we learned growing up. And that is like the safe space since it's familiar. So it's safe, and we are kind of afraid to do something which is unsafe. So we repeat the patterns of our parents' relationship in our own relationship. So again, the second step is to get clear subconsciously and consciously what you truly want. So letting go of any subconscious belief. For example, if you want to attract a partner, if you want to attract a partner in your life and you are fantasizing about how your romantic life will be, then consciously you are really wanting that partner, but subconsciously you are telling yourself that relationship hurts and I remember how my parents abused each other, so relationships are hurt.
Yeah.
It's really difficult and I don't want to be in that situation. So
Yeah.
how it's an unclarity of and how the subconscious and conscious is not fully in alignment because consciously you are saying that I want a partner, subconsciously you are telling yourself relationship hurt, it's better to stay away, remember
Mm.
what your parents did.
Yeah.
So it getting clear on what you wanted and definitely having that alignment of subconscious and consciously. So if you really want a partner, letting go of that subconscious beliefs that are
Mhm.
holding you back from attracting a partner. For example, if you are another one is if you are a woman, maybe if you have seen your father abusing your mother, or if you were told that all men are, they only want sex, they only want one thing, you have to stay
Yeah.
away from them, then you will subconsciously have that belief that, yes, all men
Mhm.
want only one thing, I have to stay away from them. And consciously, you will be telling yourself, I really want a partner.
Yeah.
So it's obviously not working out because your subconscious and conscious mind is not in full alignment. And subconscious is 95% more powerful. Some people even say it's 99% more powerful than conscious mind. So you can dream about having a romantic relationship all you want,
You're
but if
right.
subconsciously you think that it's wrong to have a romantic relationship or it's unsafe because relationship hurts or
Mhm.
all men want only one thing, you will repel romantic relationships or you will attract men who really want that one thing from you. And then you will say to yourself that I was right and all men want only one thing.
Yeah.
So that second step is having that full alignment of subconscious mind and conscious mind and really getting clear on what you want. And the third one is to trust the process, trust in that what you want will come to vision, come to reality. Eventually, it may be like maybe finding a partner is something you want in 2024. You really want to attract a partner. You have let go of the past. You have forgiven your past mistakes, forgiven other people. You are clear on the subconscious and conscious mind, and you are full alignment of conscious and subconscious mind, and you have let go of any limiting beliefs that are holding you back. But you didn't attract that partner in 2024. So
Yeah.
it's about reminding yourself that trust the process. Maybe he didn't came in 2024. Maybe he will come in 2025.
Yeah.
Maybe he will come instead of by 31st December 2024. Maybe he will come on 1st January 2025. Or
Mhm.
maybe he will come in later in that year or trusting that he will see he is coming. If that is something you really want in your life, then he is coming in your life.
Yeah.
Trust in that process instead of saying to yourself that it didn't happen this year. I wanted it this year. It didn't happen. So it's not
Never
happening.
gonna
And I'm
happen.
giving, yeah, those are the three steps. So again, if I summarize it briefly, then the first step is to forgive. Forgive yourself, forgive the past, forgive any other people you have been holding on to anger with. Second is to have full clarity of what you want
Mhm.
and the alignment of your subconscious and conscious mind so that they both are in agreement in what you want instead of fighting with each other. Like subconscious is saying something else and consciously you want something else. And the third one is to trust the process and reminding yourself that if it didn't happen by the time you are hoping for it to happen, that doesn't mean that it will never happen at all. It will come if that is what you truly want. For example,
Yes.
in my as I shared earlier, I wanted a partner as really wanted to attract a partner, but it didn't happen by the age that I
Mm.
was hoping for it to happen. And it's actually it still haven't happened. I'm currently single, but that doesn't mean that I have given up on that dream of attracting a partner. I know he will come one day.
Yes.
And now with the work I have done, like in the past, I would have given up before I did that work. In the past, I would have given up and thought that it's not happening for me. Love is just not meant for me. But
Mhm.
now I know that he will come. It just that my timing is different from someone else's timing. And I just need to wait for my time for him to come.
Absolutely. I love those tips that you gave because those tips can not only work in like on your self-love journey, but it can also work on your healing journey as well. Start with forgiveness, forgiving who you are and finding that clarity and then trusting the process. All of those things I think go hand in hand and are excellent first steps to ultimately getting to the end goal or getting to your, I call it the light era, where you're operating and you're moving and you have all these great things in your tool bag. And so thank you so much for sharing that. I hope you listeners out there wrote that down because those steps are key to starting your self-love journey. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you on social media or where they can even find you to work with you?
They can check my website, elevateselflove.com, and I'm sure you will add the link in the show notes. And check me out on Facebook and just write my name, or I will send you the link to add in the show notes to my Facebook, that you can check me out there. And I do have a free offer for the listeners. If they enjoyed listening to this podcast, and if they want to connect with me on a deeper level and maybe even work with me, I do have a free offer for them, which is a 5-day self-love challenge. So it's just a one-on-one challenge in which we connect one-on-one for 5 days, and we talk about, I go deeper into self-love, self-care, forgiveness, how to forgive, how to let go of subconscious limiting beliefs that may be holding you back from attracting what you want in your life. And obviously, in this episode, I really only talked about in regards to subconscious beliefs. I only covered partner and love, etc. But obviously, subconscious beliefs, limiting beliefs can happen in any area of your life. It can happen in career, health, wealth, love, romance, etc. So we really go deeper into that in the challenge. We talked about any questions you have about self-love, about how to embrace self-love, etc. I answer your questions. So if you are interested in doing that challenge with me, as I said, it's completely free of charge. It's no cost to you. So it's 5 day of valuable training from me, valuable coaching from me. So if you are interested in that challenge, just reach out to me on Facebook and let me know you listen to the podcast, because then I am likely to, because if you have taken time out to listen to a self-love podcast, that obviously means that you want to learn self-love, you want to learn more. So that obviously says a lot about you. So I am likely to, if you mention that, I'm likely to prioritize my reply to you than someone else. So let me know you have listened to the podcast and what takeaways you got from it. And there is an application process for the challenge, which is just, I will ask you a couple of questions of what you want to learn in the challenge and what attracted you to me, what was a favorite takeaway from the podcast, etc. I will ask you a few questions, and if we are a right fit, we will work for 5 days, completely free of charge to you. So again, if this podcast, if you got anything out of this podcast, if this podcast inspired you or anything you got out of this, any takeaways, do reach out to me and I would love to hear from you. And I would love to work together if we are a right fit.
I love it. I love it. Yes, I will ensure that all of the ways to connect are in the show notes. So you can just click and start your self-love journey. Again, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Beauty in You podcast. You have been amazing. Your expertise is amazing. And I cannot wait to continue to watch you meet your goal of inspiring 1 million women. It's so exciting. So thank you again.
Thank you. It was a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you so much.
Of course. All right, you guys. Tune in next time. Until next time.